Hey guys, namaste. I am Jade Ocean, and today I'm going to walk you guys through a nice little flow to help to open up the inner thigh muscles. So, the adductors. So, adductors, not confused with abductors. Add thinking, adding back to the center. So, adding back to the midline of the body. So, these guys are conjoined with the groin muscles. They help us to stabilize our pelvis, our lower back. They keep our balance. They keep us strong. They keep us doing pretty much everything, whether it's walking, sitting, standing, anything. So today we're going to work on helping these guys just open up a little bit and then also engaging them. So using a little bit of strength with them as well. So please make sure that you have a couple things. Make sure you have 2 blocks. We will probably need them. And then be sure that you have a thick blanket as well. You can use a bolster as well, but I suggest using a blanket will be a little bit better. So grab a blanket, something a little bit thicker. And then, of course, have your water. All right, guys, we're going to start in a Baddha Konasana pose, also known as butterfly pose. So let's grab our blanket and we're going to sit up elevated on the blanket. So a little bit closer to the edge. We want to be able to sit up nice and tall. Also grab your blocks and just have them handy. So let's place them off to the side and let's bring our feet to touch. So the bottom of the feet, let your knees just fall off to the side here. So this could mean maybe your feet are up just a little bit further. It just depends on where you are on your inner thighs. Maybe they're just really tight right now. Maybe this is just, not your best position. So just yourself, listen to your body and make the modifications that you need for your body right now. Grab your blocks and place them under the knees. You can lay them flat. We want to have a little bit of space possibly right here if you know that you can open up just a little bit more. If that's just not going to happen for you today, then of course you can have your blocks up on the sides and let your knees just fall onto them for now. You can always move them flat if you feel comfortable, but sometimes for a little bit of safety, just to know that you're supported, maybe having that just makes you feel a little bit more comfortable and you're able to relax a little bit. So bring your feet together. Again, they can come more forward. I want you to have your hands on your shins, sit up nice and tall here. Make sure you're comfortable on your blanket, so you're not hunching forward, you're not arching back. I want you to have a nice, tall, long spine here. So take a full breath and think of that prana, that energy coming in through your body and just filling each vertebra. So it's going and just creating the space. We want to create space. We want to build space within the spine, within the body. And then what we want to do is let go of tension right now. So we just want to soften. So create the space on the inhale, soften on the exhale. And inhale, full breath in. Feel your belly just expand, and exhale. Think of sitting straight up through the crown of the head. The chin is parallel to the floor. We're not bowing the chin down right now. And maybe rolling the shoulders back ever so slightly. Notice when you roll the shoulders back, did your legs stiffen up a little bit on you? So again, on the inhale, create the length in the spine, and then exhale, just give yourself permission to let that tension go for now. All we want to focus on is the core and finding that proper alignment with both sides. So making sure we're not hunching in these weird positions. Anytime we get into any pose or any movement, actually, especially when we're moving through poses, it could be dangerous if we don't go slow. So take your time, make sure that the alignments, everything feels right before you move to the next part, because you're only setting yourself up for, an ache, a pain, something bad happening. So make sure that you listen to yourself and go slow, patience. Again, full breath in and exhale. On the next breath, I want you to think of drawing that breath into your side ribs, so expanding through the side. Almost like your ribs are opening between each one like little fish gills. And then exhale, feel them close as the ribs come in towards the body, softening in towards the body. Inhale, expanding. Exhale, softening. Keeping the length in the spine. Inhale, let the shoulders just drop away from the ears. Let the front ribs, watch the front ribs don't protrude out. So generally when we do this chest breathing, it's really easy for everything to lift here, and then we'll lift, and then this will come forward and we dump into our lower back. So we want to make sure we keep these ribs softened into us, pull those side ribs out, and then use a little bit of your core here. Even if you're pregnant, think of pulling from below. So using your core, lifting up through the midline, keeping yourself centered, using your obliques, these side muscles in your abdomen, just to stabilize and lift. Again, inhale. We want to build our inhale and our exhale about equal, balanced in length. So maybe counting in your head, nice and slow, nice and full. And then exhale. Remember softening the legs. On your next inhale, I want you to lift your arms straight up overhead. So deep breath in, think of reaching through the side body. And then maybe tipping forward just a little bit here through the waist. And then exhale, release it down. Go ahead and come back upright. Inhale again, bring your arms forward, tipping forward just a little bit. And don't worry if your arms are not straight up overhead, they could be here. What we don't want to do, what we want to avoid is tipping into the back, the lower back. So we want to keep straight, firm in the front, nice and neutral in the back, okay? So we'll work with you. And then exhale, bring it back down. Inhale again, opening up. And then exhale, bring it back down. So bring your hands right back to your shins. Take a deep breath in. Create the length, and then exhale. Begin to press the bottom, so the outer edges of the feet together. And then we're going to think of just expanding and opening the top portion, so the inner edges that are facing you. Think of pulling them away from each other. And what that's going to do is really open up our inner thighs and really stretch this inner portion here. So we're going to take a deep breath in here. And then exhale, maybe let your elbows fall to your knees just to create a little soft opening. Keep your back nice and neutral here, just a little forward tilt. And exhale. You can always have your hands in front of you for support. Full breath in and exhale. We want to make sure, keep breathing, is that we're not dumping into our lower back. We're not creating this rounding motion. So only go as low as possible to maintain that neutral spine. So really checking in with yourself, really tuning in while we do these practices and making sure that you're really paying attention to all these movements of the body. Okay, and then full breath brings you right back up. Inhale, bring your arms up. And then exhale, release your arms behind you. Inhale, reach your right arm up. We're just going to reach overhead towards that left side. Left hands are on the floor. Full breath in. And then exhale, release the right hand down. Inhale, bring the left hand up. Reach towards the right side. Keep lifting up. We're not tipping. We're lifting up. And then exhale, release it all back down. Bring your hands right on top of your knees, so very softly. We're not pushing anything down right now, just a little bit, just for a little stability here. And then we're just going to take a full breath in and begin just to rotate from the torso. So from here, the base of the torso. Okay, so we're going to move, almost moving from where the hips are. So think of moving from where the hips are. So think of rotating down, around, and then back. You can roll your spine back, pull it down, around, drop your chest down, and then begin to pull your chest back. Full breath in, so we're rounding just a little bit into a cat pose on the back, and then pulling up towards this cow pose, just very subtle. Inhale, and then exhale, pull it back. Inhale through the center. And then let's stop and change direction. So we're just going to rotate the opposite direction. Exhale back, rolling the spine back, and then inhale forward. We're opening the heart here. And then exhale back, and then inhale forward. Just a little bit of movement. One more time. Exhale back. Just a little rounding. And then inhale forward. All right, and then let's very carefully press it back up. Reach your arms right over top. Take a full breath in and then let it go. Okay, we made it through the first part. So very carefully lift your knees up. Maybe you need to use your hands to assist. Let's grab the blocks. Let's move them off to the side here. We could just bring them over here to the side. We'll use them at the top of the mat, but just off to the side. And then let's come into our tabletop pose. So tabletop pose, you can actually grab your blanket and place it under your knees if you prefer. That's really nice. It's just helpful, especially if you're pregnant. We have that extra weight on our hips, so it's just pushing down into the knees. So if you're pregnant, I recommend definitely using the blanket. If you're not, I still recommend using the blanket, but you know, that would be your choice, but it's just helpful. We are going to be on the knees for a minute. So come into your tabletop pose, your Barmanasana. So we're going to have hands are going to be right underneath the shoulders. Spread them nice and wide here. Take a full breath in. And exhale, open the knees up just a little bit wider here. Take a full breath in again. And then exhale. Again, inhale. And exhale, sink the hips back. We're just going to come into a very brief little balasana, so child's pose. If you're pregnant, you can come onto your forearms, so make sure that your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Let your head be heavy here. Keep lifting the belly up. Full breath in, have your knees nice and wide here. And exhale, think of pulling your tailbone down towards the back of your heels. Inhale again, and then exhale, roll it back up to our tabletop, bring your knees in. Okay, let's extend that right knee back, and then we're just going to straighten the leg to bring it right out to the side here, so just out to the side. I'm actually going to come forward so you can see me, so you guys can stay where you are, but I just want to adjust so you guys can see me here. So right leg is extended right out to the side. I have my toes on the floor. They're not lifted up right now. My left knee is under my left hip. I'm going to take a full breath in here. And then still make sure that you keep a micro bend in that right knee. And then we're just going to create these little rotations. So more so moving the shoulders around, just making these circles with our upper body. You'll notice that the hips are moving as well. So keep breathing, moving with the breath. Nice and slow. Keep that neutral spine. Make sure that your neck doesn't drop here. We want to keep it level with your thoracic spine, your lumbar spine. Everything needs to be in line here. And then let's switch the rotation, go the opposite way. Full breaths. Good. And then let's go ahead and sink it back. Once again, we're going to come into a modified balasana. So you can open that left knee up here just to create space if you do need that space in there. If you're pregnant, this just feels good as well. So coming down to your forearms here, take a breath. Still having the right toes on the floor, still keeping a micro bend in that right knee. So think of the foot is pressing into the floor here and the leg is still active. So on the inner thigh, we still can feel those muscles. Take a breath into the back ribs. Exhale, let everything just sink right here. Keep the leg active. And then inhale, let's bring the hips right back up. Good, and then we're gonna very carefully press into the floor. Roll the back to come all the way up to a prep gate pose. Extend the arms straight up overhead. Full breath in here. And then exhale, release the right hand down very softly onto the outer edge of the right leg. And then we're just gonna reach. So we're gonna lift these right ribs up. Don't think of tipping here. We want, remember, space. So keeping the space on the right side. Just think of reaching over towards this right side with the left hand. Full breath in, keep that shoulder open, keep pulling your sacrum into your body, keep activating that right leg. Good, and then exhale, release that left hand down. We're gonna inhale, both arms are gonna come up, and then exhale, extend your hands in front of you. Palms are gonna face the floor as you extend them back into this flying, tipping forward, just parallel to the floor. Inhale, bring it back up. Good, and then exhale again, we're gonna fly it out. Inhale, bring it back up. Perfect, and then exhale, fly it back. Keep activating that right inner thigh. Inhale, bring it back up. Perfect, and exhale, fly it back, extending back through the arms. Stay here for just a moment. Notice how you're using your left glute, staying here. Inhale, bring it back up, and then exhale, release it right back down. Very good. Okay, shake it out here. And then again, when we go into a deep stretch, we always want to be really careful bringing the muscle active. So be careful bringing that leg back in. Okay, shake it out. Sway your hips side to side. Maybe move your head, your neck, everything around. I love doing this organic, just rolls, barrel rolls. Okay, so you guys ready? We're gonna do the other side now. So same thing on the other side. Let's take a full breath here. So lifting that back, lifting that left knee up and then out to the side to extend that left leg. It's just out to the side here. Hands are right under the shoulders. We're just gonna move in these little rotations. So just remember, moving the shoulders. Notice the hips are moving as well. Keep that left knee bent just a little bit, just to keep the leg active, and don't push yourself. Don't go beyond what you know you can do. So if you feel any sharp pains, sudden pains, anything like that that just doesn't feel right, it feels sharp rather than just a little discomfort, then that means back off. It means don't go there, don't do it. So taking this time to really tune in and really notice where your body is right now. It's really important to make sure that you move with intention. And switching the rotation the opposite direction. Good, keep breathing. Keep moving with that breath. We're just lubricating this area, just giving it a little wake up right now. Good. Okay, and then we're just gonna come back to neutral here, and then let's walk that right knee out just a little bit, and then we're gonna extend the hips back to come right back into our modified balasana. You can come onto your forearms here, which I prefer. I like this. It allows me to press into my forearms, and that way then I open my knee out to the side. That way then I have space. Of course, I'm with baby, so I do need the space right now. So if you're pregnant, I suggest doing this. If you're not, you can do this as well. Otherwise, you can walk your hands out. That's perfectly fine, and have your forehead falling to the floor. Just make sure you really consciously keep that left leg active. This is an active stretch, and don't go too far. Sometimes if we just press all the way to the floor, we're just pushing it. We're just going too far. We have our forearms on the floor. We're just allowing a little bit more flexibility here, so we know, when we're a little bit too close to stretching too far. So full breath in and exhale. Let's inhale. Very carefully come right back to the hands. Good. And then we're going to inhale. Roll all the way up. Deep breath in. Bring the arms straight up overhead. And then exhale. Release the left hand down. Begin to reach over towards the left side with the right hand. Remember, space in the left side. This isn't about dumping. Okay, we're creating space. And then exhale. Release both hands. Release the right hand down. Good. Let's inhale. Both arms are going to come up. And then exhale. Let's swing those hands straight back behind us as we tip forward. And then inhale. Bring it back up. Good. Nice and slow. Moving with your breath. Exhale. Very good. And then inhale. And exhale. Come right back up. Inhale. Exhale. Come right back up. Inhale. Exhale. Release it back down. Okay. Again, carefully draw that right knee right back into your tabletop. Sway it out side to side. Maybe shake your hips. Nice full breaths here. Good. exhale. All right. So this time we're gonna inhale, press into the hands, curl the toes back. I'm gonna turn so you can see me, but you can stay where you're at. You don't have to turn. So have your toes curled under, palms are pressing, they're under the shoulders. They can be out just a little bit. And then we're gonna come right into our first Adho Mukha, so our down dog. So we wanna have the knees bent here, pressing evenly into the palms, spin the triceps back, create the space in the spine. So think of pulling the shoulders out and then up the body, because we're upside down. So up the body, away from the ears, and then maybe begin to pedal your dog out, or you can lift and lower your heels, just opening up the hamstrings. And then very carefully take wider steps with your down dog, and then we're just gonna press those hips up and back a little bit further, getting a little bit more to the inner hamstring, so the medial hamstring. And then sway the hips just side to side. Let's press the hips to the right side. Take a breath. And exhale, come back to center. Inhale, let's press it to the left side. Take a breath. And exhale, come back to center. Press one more time here. Inhale, lift the heels, lower the heels down, and then we're gonna shift forward, lower the knees right back down. Okay, so we're gonna actually make sure that your blanket is still under your knees here. So we're gonna need that cushioning, and then go ahead and make sure your blocks are right next to you, so you can move them back in front, because we're gonna grab onto those in just a second. So you're back in tabletop, press into the hands, make sure they're right underneath your shoulders. Take a breath, extend the legs straight back here, and then open the knee out to the side to bring your foot just out to the side. So it's behind the right hand, but out to the side here. So it's almost like we're doing a lizard pose here. Take a breath, grab your blocks, bring them with you, and begin to extend your hips straight back. So full breath in here, and then exhale. Nice and tall with the spine, maybe coming up onto your fingertips. Let's peel those toes up off of to face the ceiling. Take a breath here. Keep breathing. Maybe adjusting yourself so that when maybe your foot, if you're not feeling it, maybe you want to bring your foot a little bit more forward. So just stretch. Maybe you're feeling it more so on the hamstring. Maybe it's out a little bit too far to the side. We want to come a little bit more, not necessarily on the inside of the leg, but a little bit more towards the back of the leg. Like I said, we're going for the medial hamstring here. So make sure you're able to keep that nice neutral spine. And exhale, keep pulling those toes in towards you. Good, and then maybe tipping forward just a little bit, hinging from the hips. Keep pulling those toes in towards you. And let's just begin to sway the shoulders just side to side very carefully, so we're not dumping into the blocks. We're just moving the shoulders, using our hips just to move a little bit here. Just side to side, little sways. Keep pulling the toes in towards you. All right. And then go ahead and move your blocks just off to the side here. We're gonna press back into the floor, lift the knee, rebend the knee, and then bring that knee right back. Again, sway out the hips a little bit. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side. So we're gonna lift that left knee, open it up to the side, and then extend that left foot out to the side here. Again, just adjusting it so that way then you have it behind the hands, but really far out to the side here. We're gonna begin to press the hips back, grab your blocks, bring them with you. As you roll, peeling those left toes up off the floor here. Extend your heel out where you need to. We want the hips to be right over top of that right knee. So make sure that you're able to stabilize here. Keep pulling the hips in towards you. Remember, keep pressing the heel into the floor to activate that inner hamstring that's closer towards the front of the body. And exhale. Maybe walk the hands, the palms down onto the blocks, tipping from the pelvis. And exhale. Keep the breath going. And then just swaying the shoulders side to side, just very carefully. Remember, moving slowly, having patience, moving with the intention of safety, with the intention of building and growing rather than hurting and pushing and forcing. So we never want to push ourselves into a pose just because we think that that's the right thing to do. We have to remember that we are all different. We all are very unique in our own body, and we're all different daily. So one day we may be feeling like we're super strong, and the next day we won't be that strong. So it's just, everything is constantly changing. So to know that, remember this, which is the hardest part, constantly remembering that, and then just adjusting and adapting to meet your body where it is for that moment. That's the greatest piece of advice that I can give you. Moving with intention, with full awareness. Okay, let's move those blocks, rebend into that left knee, and then very carefully press into the palms and press that left knee straight. All right, so let's take a breath. Press into the hands, curl the toes under, make sure your feet are a little bit wider. Again, we're coming into our Adho Mukha, or down dog. Take a breath here, really pressing and lifting through the arms, and then exhale. Good. Let's inhale, bend the knees and begin to walk the hands back here. So we're just going to walk the hands back, have the feet nice and wide. Inhale to lift halfway up, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press through the feet and come all the way up. Go ahead and walk yourself, so that way then you have the mat. I'm going to have you grab your blocks and you have the full mat, so you can come sideways on the mat, and then have your feet a little bit wider here. So we're going to take a breath here. Blocks on their flattest setting. Make sure that you're able to feel the outer edges of your feet. We're here in our prostrated Padottanasana pose, okay? So activate the inner thighs, lift those quads up. Think of really pressing the sacrum into the body here. You're all the way up. And then exhale, tipping from the front hips. We're just gonna dive all the way down. You can release your hands onto your blocks. Take a breath. Keeping a micro bend in those knees. Just feeling your body in this different position. So taking a moment just to check in with yourself. We've changed. Now we're standing. We just want to figure out how our body is adjusting to the standing position here. Okay, and then inhale one more time, and then exhale, fold it all the way down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Again, fold it all the way down. Let's do that again. Inhale, lift it halfway. Keep firming those front quads. And exhale, opening up the glutes behind you. Inhale and exhale. Good, let's sway the shoulders. Almost like we're rocking. Keep the hips level. Think of those front hip bones are staying level to the mat here, so we don't want them to go back and forward and back as we sway. We want to keep them even. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, staying here. Okay, you can bend the knees a little bit. Let's make sure that both of our blocks are flat and they're right underneath where our sternum is here. So what we're going to do is place our right hand right in the center of the block. We're going to take a breath, make sure that we're still firming those quads, really opening up the hamstrings here. We're nice and wide, but we're able to seal the outer edges of the feet down. If not, go ahead and heel toe it in a little bit. If you're still fine and you feel like you can go further, then go a little bit further. Remembering, if you're pregnant, don't push it. Feel comfort more than you feel of a straining stretch. So be aware and mindful of that. So let's press the right hand into the middle, so the center of the blocks here. Take a full breath, extend that left hand just out to the side, and then exhale. So we're creating that length through the arm, so lifting up through that bottom hand. And then maybe inhale to go in for a twisting just to the left side. Keep pulling that left hip in and keep those hip bones level to the front. So not pushing it. Just moving with what your body is allowing you to do right now. And sitting with it. Inhale again. And exhale. One more time, inhale. And then exhale, release the hand down. Good. Inhale. Inhale. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up again. Let's find the center of the blocks with your left hand. Same thing, press into the blocks. Inhale, lift up through the arm. Maybe extending the right hand out to the side. Really pressing into the feet, lifting those arches up. And then exhale. Inhale, maybe we begin to reach up with the ceiling. Keeping those legs nice and strong. Keep pulling those hips into the center. Stay for another breath. One more time. Inhale. And then exhale. Release that right hand down. Inhale here. And exhale, forward fold. Maybe letting your forehead, if it touches, come to the blocks. Inhale, press it back up. And then exhale, let's bend the knees, bring the hands right to the hips, and then we're just gonna stand it up very carefully. Full breath in here. Let's heel toe those feet in. Okay, that feels good. And then I'm gonna come back. You guys can turn, we're just gonna come back so we're facing the top of the mat. Take a breath, inhale, reach your arms up, and then exhale, forward fold. Tipping from the hips all the way down. Okay, let's make our way all the way down. We're gonna come to seated here. So let's grab our blanket, and then again, just make sure we're able to sit on top of our blanket. And then you go ahead and find the edge of your blanket so you can sit up nice and tall. Bring your toes to let's come back into our Baddha Konasana pose. So how we started. Take a breath here and exhale. Make your way right back onto the edge of your blanket. You can have your knees up, your feet on the floor here. Let's just take a breath here and exhale. Let's place the hands right behind us. You can come onto your fingertips. And we're just going to sway the knees out just side to side, just windshield wiper for just a second. Just relaxing the legs. We've just had them open the whole time. Full breath in and exhale. Good. Okay, coming out of your pose. So let's make our way right back down to the mat. Let's make our way right back down to down dog here. Make sure that you have your blanket still long on the mat from side to side, and then we're just going to come right back into down dog. So take a breath and exhale. Inhale, let's press into the palms. Let's curl down dog. Open the feet nice and wide. Take a breath. Inhale and exhale. Good. Have your feet a little bit wider. And exhale. Keep the breath going. Sit with us for just a moment. If you need to take some water right now, we're getting there. We're getting to the end. But make sure that you take a break. Grab some water. Okay, and then release those knees down. All right, so we're gonna come into a frog pose. So using your blanket, make sure you have your blanket. So there's a couple ways that you could do this pose. One way is you may want to have your blanket nice and wide, but rolled up, so that way then there's a lot of padding. So like I have mine here, and that way then your knees can fall to the outside of the blanket. So that's one way you could do it. You could also just have it long like this, and that's kind of nice because you can plump it up in the center, and that way then you're not pushing too far down. You have a little bit of support here. So I'm going to show you this way where it's long, and I'm just going to come forward so you can see me. Have your blocks close by, so lay your blocks where your arms are going to go. Right in front, I'm going to face you. You guys can sit any direction you want. Maybe you guys can sit any direction you want on your mat. Just make sure that you're comfortable. And then we're going to bring our hands to either side of the blocks. Press right back into our down dog. Take a breath, and then shift forward. Lower the knees to the outside of the blanket and let them just fall open. My toes are to touch here. Take a breath. Make sure that your blocks are right underneath of your chest, and exhale. Inhale again. Find that length, and exhale. Maybe you draw your forearms right on top of your blocks just for a little bit of support here. And then you can have your toes to touch to start, just for safety, to get into it. If this feels like, oh my gosh, this is just way too much, you could always just have one leg extended and then bring the other leg in. So I'm going to show you a modified way to do this. One leg extended behind you, and you can have your foot flat to the floor here, but have one leg extended out behind you. If you're pregnant, make sure that you have enough padding. Maybe you can grab a pillow or just plump up your pillow a little bit, or your blanket a little bit higher, and that way then you have space between the floor and space for your baby. And then again, keep that left leg extended out here, and then back onto your forearms. Otherwise, if you're in a full frog pose, legs are going to just be out to the side. Again, you're on your forearms. Your toes are to touch still, or towards each other. You can begin to open the feet up just a little bit to the sides here. Take a breath, and then exhale. Begin to sink the hips. So use your forearms to press back, to sink the hips back just a little bit. So keep lifting up through the belly, and then exhale. Keep pressing the forearms into the blocks. Make sure that you create that space, so we're lifting up through the top of the arms here. Keep the shoulders pulling down. We don't want to crunch up here, so keep the shoulders pulling down. And exhale. Maybe release the head down. Maybe very carefully just swing side to side just a little bit, or you can rock back and forth. Very subtle baby movements, not jerky. So we want to be really careful and slow here. Almost like we're rocking ourselves calm. Like everything's going to be okay. Keep the breath going. Keep that prana pulling in through your body. Remember the space that we're creating. Remember, we never want to force anything to go where it's not meant to go. So where it's not ready to go. And with that, remember, you want to keep tuning into yourself. Pay attention to the feelings that you're having. If they're hurting, if it's too painful, to bear them, back off. If you can't breathe, it feels like it's too hard to breathe, that's a sign to back off a little bit. If it feels like it's just a little bit discomfortable, but you're able to breathe, there's no tensions, no pains, your body's in full alignment, you feel like you're able to hold yourself up steadily, then just lean into that discomfort and just know that this is only temporary. You will get through this. You will make it through this alive. You will be okay, and you will be better and stronger and just more aware of your body in general. Knowing that everything in life passes. Everything is always ever changing. All we can do is hang on to the moment and just really pay attention to it. That way then when it goes into the next moment, we're a little bit stronger. Mentally, physically, more aware of what's going on. Couple more breaths here. And exhale. Let it go. Inhale. then very carefully roll the head back up. Go ahead and press into the palms. You can bring the palms off to the side of the blocks and then carefully bring your hips forward, bring your feet back in, and then you can roll yourself all the way up here. So I'm seated up all the way, nice and tall here. Give my inner thighs a second. If you had one leg extended back behind you, you can very carefully bring it back in and then sit back up into a wide virasana. So just taking a moment just to catch your breath and show some gratitude for yourself. You made it through that hard pose. Okay, so we're gonna sit just on top of our blanket, which we should be on top of already. Let's come to the edge of the blanket. You can have your blocks close by. You can just move them off to the side behind you a little bit here. Extend your feet just out in front of you for just a second. Flex your toes in towards you. Take a breath, step nice and tall. Reach your hands up overhead, and then exhale, let them just come down to the side. We're gonna pull the right knee out to the side as we bring that right bottom of the foot into the inner thigh of the left thigh. And then let's just walk that left thigh out to the side here. And then let's just pull that foot back into the inner thigh. So sitting up nice and tall, make sure you're towards the edge of your blanket. And exhale, keep flexing those left toes up in towards you. And then just make sure that you're rolling the inner thigh up. So we want our femur, which is the thigh bone, to be facing up towards the ceiling or sky, wherever you are. We don't want the toes to be falling in or falling out, so make sure, and if they're falling out, again, we're going to rotate the other way. So lifting that leg bone straight up ahead, straight up above us. Take a breath and exhale. Inhale, reach the arms up. And then exhale, maybe you grab your block. You can have your block close by. You can twist towards that right knee, so that bent knee. We're just gonna twist from the torso. And then exhale, you can release your left arm onto the block if you like, and then just reach up overhead here with the right hand. Deep, full breath in. If you're going for a full Janusirsasana here, you can reach just that left hand just out through the shin, maybe on top of the toes. What we want to do is keep that length again in that left torso. Keep pulling that left hip, that thigh bone into the hip. So keep pulling it into the midline. Make sure that you're pressing both sitting bones down, so both butt bones down equally into your blanket right here. And you're just creating a little reach. Stay with it. Keep that breath going. Inhale, bring it right back up. Arms are going to come up overhead. And then exhale. Let's grab your blocks and then just bring them right in front of us. So on the tallest settings, inhale, bring your fingertips to the block. Sit up nice and tall. And then exhale, maybe you bend the elbows back. Maybe you walk your blocks a little bit more forward. Or you can also too come down to your forearms here. Remember, keeping that thigh rolling up towards the ceiling. Make sure your spine stays neutral here. Keep the breath nice and controlled. Nice and slow and soft. Keep firming that front thigh too. And keep a little bend in that left knee. Inhale, come right back up. Good, and then let's do the same thing on the other side. So let's move our blocks off to the side. We're going to carefully bend that left foot in and then extend the right leg out. Go ahead and pull the bottom of the left foot towards the inner thigh of the right. So my right leg is just out to the side a little bit. All right, and then you can grab your block, place it on the outside. Try to mirror what you did on the other side. So if you just went for your toes, maybe try to do that. Remembering both sides are different, so don't push it. If it doesn't want to go there, just work with what you have on each side. Inhale, reach your arms up, and then begin to twist from the torso towards the left knee. And then exhale, maybe you release the hand down onto the shin. Maybe you walk it out to the toes. Maybe you release the elbow onto the block. Opening that left shoulder up. Keep the space in the right side body. Just a full breath here. Keep spinning that leg so it's facing up. Pull the toes in. And exhale. One more breath. Release the left hand down. Grab your blocks, place them in front of you again. Okay. Fingertips to the blocks. Inhale, lift that heart. Make sure you're nice and neutral in your spine. And then exhale. Maybe you bring your blocks, adjust your blocks where you need to. Maybe you come down to your forearms. Maybe you're still on your fingertips. Listen to your body. There's no right and wrong way as long as you're in that alignment and safety zone of not feeling any pain. One more deep breath in and exhale. Carefully walk it back up. Good. And then let's just move our blocks off to the side. They can go behind us. So let's bring that right knee in. Take a breath here. And exhale. Good. Let's bring the feet right back onto the floor, and we're just going to sway. Hands are behind me, and I'm just going to sway my knees side to side. Just shake it out a little bit. Good. Keep breathing. All right, it's going to come back onto our blanket, so you can just have your blanket behind you. Won't be here for very long. I know if you're pregnant, it's not good to be laying all the way back, so make sure you're elevated a little bit on top of your blanket. But again, we won't be here for too long. Let's just bring our body straight back. Very carefully roll yourself back onto your blanket. Take a breath. Inhale. Feet are flat on the floor, knees are up. Okay. And then let's just let our knees fall to the left side. You can open your arms out to the side here. Just a little stretch here. If you need to bring your feet down further so you have space, if you're pregnant, that's fine. A couple more breaths. Bring it back up on the next inhale. Adjust yourself, shake your hips out a little bit, and let's do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to shift. I always shift my hips off to the opposite side. I'm falling. Let the knees fall. Again, make your adjustments for your body if you need that space. And letting everything just surrender right now. Don't push the knees down. Don't force them, no tightening anything, just let them fall, let gravity take over. Let your face soften, let that breath move freely throughout you. Just a complete surrender right now. Giving up all that control. And let's inhale, bring the knees back up. Good, and then let your knees fall in. Feet are going to walk out to the outer edge of the mat for a nice fallen bridge. Inhale, reach the hands just up above, past the head, and then exhale, draw your hands right to your heart. Reach your hands right back up overhead, and draw them right back to your heart. Thumbs to touch your heart. Just finding that center of love for yourself right now, for taking this time to practice this today, to work on building your inner thigh strength, your awareness there. You may feel a lot of cooling right now, maybe a lot of heating still, and just noticing that and showing some gratitude for yourself. Carefully walk your feet back in, roll yourself up, or you can come to your side, fall to one side, and then press yourself back up. Again, thank yourself so much for getting through this practice. I'm myself grateful for you allowing me to guide you through this. And I hope to see you again